Good morning. It's the morning of Tuesday, March 8th, 2022. My name is Nathaniel Gleason. I am Vice President of North American Agricultural Services, which is owned and operated by my father, CTA Dave Gleason. This morning, we will be taking an in-depth look at the weekly crude oil charts, starting with a 144-week cycle in the July crude oil. This chart is a weekly electronic July crude oil chart showing a cycle of 144 weeks. We're starting the cycle from the May 1st, 2020 low of 1727, and we're using a price per week ratio of 1.332. This gives us a midpoint in price of 113.02, and the cycle is due on February 3rd, 2023. Now, this is actually an update on a chart that I put out last week with the report, the crude oil report, and we're well below here in price. We've actually come up and hit this target early. I believe the high was 116.43 and the target was 113.01. So we've come up and hit the target early. We're just 1 week past the 2/3 division point in time, which is this green horizontal line, vertical line, and we hit the target a week after that. That was due March 4th, 2022, and we actually hit that target this week, the weekend in March 11th. So market can back off after we hit this target. Now, if we continue to rally, we'll have to rebuild this chart. And as I pointed out, this is actually the midpoint in price. So we have other lines above here before the actual target of the cycle. And some of these division points in price can mark resistance also and may also be targets. So we'll just have to see if we're going to have to recreate this chart for more room up to the upside or not. The next division point in time is the double clue, which is the purple vertical line, and that's due May 27, 2022, and that may also mark a change of trend. If the market decides to pull back, maybe that's where the low would be. The clue is the blue vertical line, and that's due September 30th, 2022. All three of these can mark changes of trend, including that 2/3 green vertical line that just expired last week. Now that could have just came in a week late with this week's highs. Now there's a chance we're going to go above the parameters of this chart, which means we'd have to look at some higher targets. Now this 113.02 or this 113.01 target, is this the midpoint in price? So we have the 2/3 horizontal green as a target, that's not showing, and then the actual target of the cycle is not showing. Usually we just look at the midpoints in price on these 144s. That's about all they usually do. But with the world news, we're probably going to end up having to look at some of these higher targets that aren't on the charts. But right now they're up by resistance at 113.01, and there's definitely a possible change of trend this week with the 2/3 division point in time due last week. The second chart I'd like to share with you is a weekly July crude oil chart showing a 360-week time and price cycle. This is a chart from the seminar. It was my theory that we were in a 360-week bear cycle that ended over the last couple of years, and we've seen these markets turn. Now, obviously, we're in bull markets in a lot of these commodities, and my theory is that this bull market can last up to 360 weeks. We're measuring this 360-week cycle from the May 1st, 2020 cycle low of 1727 at a ratio of 0.44. July crude oil has a time and price meet due March 26, 2027 with the target price of 175.67. The midpoint in price on this chart crossed at 96.47 and was major resistance. As you can see, we blew right through that to the next division point in price, which is resistance at 116.27. Now that we've broken through the, just with such ferocity, this is now support at the midpoint in price. The 96.47 is now support. The next division point in time is the 1/3 green vertical line, which is due August 19th, 2022. Originally, I had put last month when I released this chart, I had drawn an Elliott wave on there to kind of show what kind of path might be taken to get to the target. Obviously, price is not going to trade exactly where I put that. But as you can see, we've rallied with the first leg up, and now we're just waiting for that wave 2 correction, which could expire. We could see the end of the wave 2 correction as early as August 19th, 2022 with the 1/3 division point in time. It looks like I have it marked on the chart here closer to the next division point in price or in time after that, which is due December 2nd, 2022. But just expect to pull back before we take that next leg up if this bull cycle is correct. The midpoint in time is due October 13th, 2023 with the midpoint in price crossing at 96.47. So, if this bull cycle is intact, there's a good chance we could be around 96.47 come October 2023. The double clue is due July 4th, 2025, and the clue is due May 15th, 2026. These can mark major events. Okay, for the next chart, we'll take a look here to the left, and it's a July crude oil chart that shows planetary angle lines based on the planet's revolution around the sun. The price per degree of revolution is set to 0.12. Okay, with the planetary angle set to 0.12, we can see that Pluto crosses at 122.50 and is resistance. I'd also like to point out we're rallying with the angle line of Mars, and we've traded up to the upper Mars almost, so that should be resistance. So the market could find some resistance here. If we start closing above Pluto, then we're going to have to expand the chart and look at some of the upper numbers. Right now, well, when I shared this chart last week, we were around Uranus, or last month. We've now broken above Uranus, so Uranus is now support at 91.75. Below there we got support of Neptune at 85.55, and Saturn and Pluto cross around 81.15. If we pull back down into these planetary angle lines, we'll also have the support of Mars. Next, we're going to take a look at July crude oil using the Harmonic Gann wheel. The Harmonic Gann wheel is used as a time and price calculator and uses a square of 9 grid and circular overlays with degrees marked so you can measure price movements and find areas of support and resistance. Encasing the grid is another circle with each day of the year marked 98.6 degrees apart. so it can also be used to measure time in degrees and is used to find potential dates that will mark changes of trend. Using the $116.43 high made March 7, 2022 and measuring counterclockwise, July crude oil has wheel support at, well, the 270 degrees at 105.40, the 360 is at 103.20, the 450 is at par even or 100 even, the 540 is at 96.82, the 630 degree is at 93.75, and the 720 degree support is at 90.78. Resistance for July crude oil using the $61.32 low made December 2nd, 2021 and measuring clockwise, you'll see that, well, we'll have to come to the end here. We had 1,620 degree resistance at 114.05. The 117.10 degree resistance is at 117.45, and the 1800 degree resistance, which is 5 full turns around the wheel, is at, or 5 times 360 degrees, is at 120.83. It looks like using the Harmonic Wheel and measuring time, we have 90 degrees in time from the December 2nd, 2021 low of 61.32, and that is due March 3rd, was due March 3rd, 2022, and the 144 degrees from the December 2nd, 2021 low of 61.32 is due 4/27 or April 27th, 2022. All right, next we're going to be looking at the wheel stop. These following trades are hypothetical. Past results are not guaranteed of future results. The weekly trend is up with the computer going long in the May crude oil on the weekly chart at 76.42. The week ending January 7th, 2022 with the current generated stop at 85.81 for the week ending March 11th, 2022. Tuesday, March 8th, 2022, May crude oil on the weekly chart is up $12.57 at 124.16. Now that was at 9:09 a.m. this morning. Next, we'll look at the July crude oil with the wheel stop, and the weekly trend is up with the computer going long. The July crude oil on the weekly chart at 75.20 the week of January 7th, 2022 with the current generated stop at 82.76 for the weekend in March 11th, 2022. Today, Tuesday, March 8th, 2022, July crude oil on the weekly chart is trending up $11.15 at 114.55. That was at 9:09 a.m. this morning. Well, there is no buy or sell signals for the weekly charts for May crude oil today, but there was a buy signal for the weekend in March 4th, 2022 for May crude oil if they trade above 98.44, which they did, so that buy signal was triggered. Now, if they settle higher on the week, they'll probably have a sell signal next week if they take out this week's low. But we'll worry about that next week. That is all I had to share with you in the July crude oil. Don't forget to read over the disclaimer and have a good day.